So can you explain to the listener like how you got introduced into this world? Like you were the third guy in Nelk or the photographer, like, and was that kind of your first exposure to the internet world?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so. Obviously, we were around the same age where we grew up watching YouTubers. We watched people older than us, about 10 years older than us, who started like the YouTube, basically the pioneers and OGs of YouTube.
To me, it was like Wild Boys and Jackass.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I grew up at a time like being on the internet, watching YouTube, watching all these OG like people who are in the 30s, 40s now.
Yep.
And being exposed to that and saying, "Oh, this is really cool." Like they get to show people and allow them to see what they're doing and be inspired by that. So that's kind of got me drawn into it. And then obviously I said this story a few times where I met Kyle in high school.
Okay.
So
what high school did you go to?
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel. So my cousins went to Meadowville.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So we had a rivalry there. Yeah. And so basically we were acquaintances. We didn't sort of talk to each other much or knew each other that well. We just saw each other in the hallways and had mutual people there who I was in class with, and I see him like cool. Like, and during the time it was 2010, and he's actually said it too, with a few buddies of mine, that he started like while in high school, and it was just kind of like, you know, skits and all that. It was pretty funny, right? And it was like one of the first times where I saw somebody that I knew personally like start to create like content on YouTube and be exposed to like, okay, this is much different because you are not so much used to that as a kid or as a teen, like knowing
someone who is also has like an internet persona.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I think it depends on where you grow up and who you know. Right. I was just a regular guy who just did regular things.
Yeah.
You know, and just went to school and just chilled at home and played games.
So you became their photographer and filmer and editor? Is that?
First started, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. My role was part-time for about a year, 2016.
Okay.
And I just hit him up. I hit Kyle up randomly because he was like the first point of contact. And then I said to him, I think it was a DM on Instagram.
Sure.
I said, hey, I'm a photographer now. I've been doing it for about 2 years. I noticed that you guys are taking photos of yourselves, and I just want to help out and take some photos of you.
Sure.
And he just said, oh, yeah, for sure. Like, come out, take some photos for us, see how it goes. The first encounters was pretty good. Didn't really ask for much at the beginning, obviously.
Yeah.
And then eventually they're like, well, we need somebody to start filming our pranks now because we don't want to be switching over from one person to the other and then having to, you know, be so preoccupied with filming. So they kind of brought me along to do a part-time thing of filming like the first video. So I don't know if I said this before. It was the very first one that I filmed for them was the Subway prank with not Subway, Starbucks.
Okay. What was that prank?
So they got a uniform for Starbucks. They went to Starbucks around Mississauga and pretended to be fake employees.
Okay.
And it's just like the typical like pranks of like the comedy, the humor, the improv.
Yep.
And just kind of doing like a bit of extra things that like regular employees wouldn't do.
Okay.
And kind of like being weird to
making people awkward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Making it feel awkward for the customers, or like fighting with each other in front of customers. You could go find it. It's like still on the channel, right? That was the first video I ever filmed for them. So
you started filming, and then did they hire you?
I was kind of in between of me working at Walmart.
Okay.
Right? And like taking the risk and committing to this full time.
Yep.
And basically giving up everything I had before and just starting with something new that I saw had potential, but I didn't know for myself whether or not it would be something that I could fully
make a living from. I mean, it's like, I guess to be frank, it's not that big a risk quitting Walmart as a kid, right? But
I mean, at the time I was still 20. I was 22, 23.
Okay. So, young adult,
So, like, young adult. I wasn't necessarily a kid yet at that time. And I was September 2017 when I finally quit.
Okay.
And then that's when, like, the whole journey started of me being in that group. And it was us three at the time.
Yep.
and was able to just do road trips.
So did they hire you as like an employee, like, or was it even that structured at all?
It was an
just
employee.
Kind of okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It was an employee.
Okay.
Like at the time though, it wasn't like as what do they call it, a company yet.
Yeah.
It wasn't an established company, so they just hired me as somebody that's just like, okay, you have a position. This is your position.
Yep.
This is your role. And then that's really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there like a clear vision? Like, did you see the potential? Like, I mean, I guess 2017 YouTube's up and running. Like, people are making a lot of money on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that was the goal.
The
goal was to be viral, to make big videos.
Yeah. Well, that was
YouTube.
that was their goal. That was their whole mindset. I was just there to help.
Okay.
Film for them, right? That was my role, and then take photos for them because I was that third person that just helped with their content.
Sure.
Right. And then, it just started as a photographer, and then.
When did things change? When did you
transition?
Get in front of the camera?
March.
Because you became from my homework, I've seen all these compilations of you in front of the camera. You went from behind the camera to in front of the camera and became a character in the videos.
Yeah, that was March of 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, so that ran for about 6 months, from August to October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so about 7 months or so. And that was because they had more people join the team, like Austin, this guy, Adrian, and a few other people who help with like the editing, the filming. So I was transitioned to that role.
Sure.
Yeah, as an online personality. And it was something too that I said before where like I insisted on taking on because I wanted to see, at the time I was a different person. I was so focused on wanting to get more attention and more focused on myself.
Yeah.
So that kind of drew me to like wanting to be on camera because I wanted to get sort of that recognition I felt that I wanted. When in reality it's like it's much more bigger than myself, right? Like there's other things that revolves more than just myself.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And at the time, like I had a big ego, and it was something that I personally didn't accept or realize or acknowledge until recently.